I want to add one final thing that we've kind of overlooked up until this point because, well, I don't want to bog you down with too many things. If we take a look at our project, well, it's a lot of files. Even though it's a simple app, you can imagine how bigger and bigger and bigger this source file can get. And organization is a big part of working on projects. Most applications will be way bigger than the ones that we've built, and we need a good way to organize these. And folder structure is one of the most important things. So let's clean up this code. I'll show you what I would do if I was working on this application and I want to make it more extensible. That is cleaner, so when other people come on the team, they understand it, and also I can keep growing this code base. First thing I will do is I'll create a few folders. One is going to be called components. And these are the components that we've built, such as card list, search box, and scroll. The second one is going to be called containers. And containers are these smart components, the containing components that have state in them, that have lifecycle hooks, that have the class syntax. You see, these components or these containers, we can't use a pure function with them because technically they're not pure. They have state that they modify within these functions, and that's okay. It's impossible to have just pure functions because most of the time, well, we need to make requests to the outside world. But these components are special, and we're going to call them containers. They contain things, and they just pass down state to components. Now, we can just say that we're going to move app.css to now be in containers. We're also going to say app.js. We're going to move it to be in containers as well. And then the components, the simple functions, pure functions that we've created, search box, scroll, and card list, well, these can be in components. Let's just open up the folder and make this simpler. I'm going to close the tab, open up RoboFriends, and let's open up source. We'll say that scroll, search box, card, and card list, which are just pure functions, are inside of components. Now, if you remember, our font is also part of the app.css file. So we'll move that in there as well because it's defined in there. With that, let's go back to our app. And well, now we have a lot of fails because these now refer to different parts. We don't app, well, lives in a different folder than card list and search box and scroll. The way we do that is we use ... which means leave the folder or go to the folder, and then from there, go into the containers, from the containers, so where app.js is, I'm going to leave, which is ... and then once I'm at here at the folder level, I'm going to say components. And I can do the same for the rest of them as well. Save. And we also have index.js that now is referring to app that lives in containers. So again, because we're now leaving a folder, we're in the same neighborhood, well, we can just do .containers app. Let's save. Oh, and I spelled out wrong. Good spelling by me. Everything looks fine. Let's go back to our website. There you go. Everything is scrolling nicely. Okay, so we have a nice folder structure here. Things have cleaned up. And oh, we also have scroll.js. And I think we just have an extra copy of it. So we might have made a copy of that. Make sure everything still works. Yeah, everything still works. We want to remove a couple of spaces here that we've done. We also notice a few errors. So not necessarily errors, but stylistic things. For example, with the filter, I say filter the robots, and iterate through the robots. That doesn't really make sense, does it? It should be each item is a robot user that we get. So I save that. Still the same, no errors. I also see a bit of cleaning that can be done with using this.state a lot. We can just say, again, using the structuring, we can say const robots and search field, we're doing the structuring, equals this dot state. And now I can remove this dot state from here. I can remove this dot state from here and from all the other places that we're using this dot state in the render. If I save, everything still works, but the code is much cleaner. We also notice that within here, robots.length equals 0. There's actually an easier way of doing this. And again, it's just stylistic. This is going to equal 0. So if this is 0, that's going to evaluate in JavaScript to false. So we can just say the opposite. Remember this syntax? So if this is 0, which is going to be false, turn it into true so that if there's no robots, we're loading. Save, and that should still work. And then finally, if you see an if-else statement, well, we can do a ternary, can't we? We can say return robots. If there's robots, return this. Let's see if that still works. Oh, we don't need that extra bracket. Look at that, it still works. And you can see now that things are much cleaner. We have an app that renders all our things for us. And to finish off, remember package.json, how we had some pre-built scripts? And we had this build command. If I stop this now and I do npm build or npm run build, check this out. While this is building, they've created a new folder called build. And within here, we have all our files, but this time optimized. What does that mean? Well, if we go to static and go to JS, look at that. Everything is minified for us. Our CSS is optimized. And everything that we need to deploy the website is in this folder. So we can now take this build folder and put it anywhere. So it's on the internet. And it even gives you some good information. So now we have this optimized build. We don't have to minify it. We don't have to do all these optimization. It goes through Babel so that we can use import statements in the browsers. And now this build folder can now be deployed anywhere. Like I said, Create React App takes away all the pain of the setup. Everything is done for you. You can just write code, use React components from around the web to build beautiful websites. I hope you're excited about React as I am. This is why it's such a popular tool, and this is why so many companies now are using it. I'll see you in the next one.